What is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're chilling here talking about WWE SummerSlam 2019, which is going to be coming up around the corner. We got our big match, our main event of SummerSlam. It's going to be Brock Lesnar, your WWE champion, putting the Universal Championship on the line against Seth Rollins. This, honestly, to me, was the one match that made the most sense. About going forward in WWE, although when they had the number one contenders battle royal on Monday Night Raw, I kept thinking in my mind that there was 3 competitors in that match that had a really good chance of winning the battle royal that all made sense. Seth Rollins, your winner, he ended up losing his championship at Extreme Rules when he was cashed in upon by Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar had his advocate, Paul Heyman, come out and tell us that it was coming, but because in the past, Paul Heyman had told us, I believe, 3 times before Brock was coming, and we didn't take it seriously. I'll tell you the truth, I didn't even think Brock was in Pennsylvania. No, it wasn't. Well, Philadelphia. Whatever. I didn't even think he was there for the show, so I was surprised that it happened. But it did. Roman Reigns, the face of the WWE, I honestly thought that he made really good sense because he's freaking Roman Reigns. He's about to be in this movie, Hobbs and Shaw, with The Rock. He is the face of the WWE. If he's not going to be fighting against Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship, what is he going to be doing at SummerSlam? Or is anybody sitting here saying they can't wait for Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin at the pay-per-view? I've talked about this for a while when it comes to WWE pay-per-views. Normally, there's one match that I really want to see, another match that I think has a chance to be a really good match that, people will be talking about the next day. And that is the reason why I sit there and watch the pay-per-view. But I can't think of even a WrestleMania they've had in the last few years where every match, is something that it's I can't wait for this match to happen. This is going to be a really big thing that, sort of get a shape up where WWE is going for the summer or anything like that. It's just a bunch of matches on a Sunday night that I sit down in my living room and watch after work. It's almost like, once fall comes and you got a football game on NBC on Sunday Night Football, you're wondering which is going to be better. And I remember last year there was quite a few times I picked the Sunday Night Football game over what was going down on WWE's WWE Network pay-per-view. And then, of course, the other match I thought was going to be, are we finally going to see Braun Strowman being built up to the point where he's going to be finally getting a shot against Brock Lesnar? I think he's fallen short twice before, and 2 times before, I think the people really thought that Braun had a shot to beat Brock, especially at the, was it Braun and Brock in a cage? No, that was Roman Reigns on that Saudi Arabia show where people thought they wouldn't do it at WrestleMania, so they just did it in Saudi Arabia to give those people Saudi Arabia something for their money. But I know that Braun got a shot at Brock on a pay-per-view, and I know I was really surprised that we didn't get the Braun winning because I thought they were building him up to the point where it was finally going to happen. But, the match is going to be Rollins versus Brock. Sort of surprised that they didn't use Brock cashing in against Kofi. Having SmackDown be the true A brand. I know we've been saying this for years. As long as SmackDown has been around, it's always been looked at as Vince is finally going to make this his number one show. And they've done things from debuted on Thursdays, they moved it to Fridays. They put Triple H and Jeff Hardy on the brand. When they did the first draft, Vince took over SmackDown while Ric Flair had control of Monday Night Raw. One way or another, Monday Night Raw has always been the number one show. I don't know if it's just that, fans like me have, not like me anymore, but fans have always sat down on Monday night and they've said, what are we going to do? We're going to watch Monday Night Raw because that's what we've done for the last 25 years. Brock going there would sort of sporadically mean that Paul Heyman would have to do double duty some weeks, when he would be having to show up on SmackDown, while at the same time he was Monday Night Raw. I think that honestly, if Paul Heyman is running Monday Night Raw and they need him for something on SmackDown, I think that Tuesday morning is sort of like the travel day for those guys. If he was just to have to travel to the next town where SmackDown would be, most of the time SmackDown and Raw are sort of in the same geographical location. Worst of all, especially for these guys in the wrestling business, traveling, even if it was cross country, let's say like worst case scenario, Raw was in Los Angeles and SmackDown was like in Pennsylvania or something like that. They would have to just jump on a flight and have to get there. Paul Heyman could basically be, having a phone call on the flight from Eric Bischoff or, Creative or somebody saying, what are the bullet points you want me to get over? It's not like he's not going to know what, the pay-per-view that Brock Lesnar is going to be having a match at or something like that. He literally could, walk out, deliver that promo and be home. But, then again, what we learned, you go back and watch the Paul Heyman DVD when he talked about the fact of why he got fired from WWE and how it all went down. It mostly revolved around Paul Heyman. What was it? He was trying to spend more time with his kids, so he was working from home, and then he got caught supposedly listening to the Monday Night Raw creative meeting because his phone lost power and it disconnected, and it said that he had left the call that they didn't even know he was in. Whatever. It could just be a Paul Heyman story for all we know. But when it comes down to SummerSlam, Rollins versus Brock is possibly one of the biggest matches that they could have. But at the same time, this is the match that we got at WrestleMania as supposed to be built up as one of the main events. This match was the opener, and this match ended in less than a minute. Brock has had two matches that ended this fast. He basically got beat by Goldberg in 30 seconds. He lost to Rollins in about a minute. Other than that, Brock lost to Triple H at 29. Brock lost to Cena at Extreme Rules. And Brock got cashed in on by Rollins. It's almost like the matches that he loses sometimes. He just I got to lose, so let's phone it in. They don't want to hurt him, they don't want to hurt his ego, so they just beat him fast and just get it over with. To me, honestly, if you go back and watch my reaction video from Brock winning the championship when he cashed in upon Rollins, I think that WWE, with the title on Brock and him not being there on Monday Night Raw, especially with them having two brands, what are we hoping for? There's no Money in the Bank briefcase to sort of treat like it's the main deal. Are they going to treat I don't even know what brand is exclusive to the show because everything floats around, but let's say, are we going to make the United States Championship like the go-to belt? Or are we going to make Ricochet and or AJ Styles, who are feuding over that belt right now? Are we going to make that like the number one feud of the show? Let's say Brock is off sitting at home wherever he lives, Minnesota, Canada, wherever it is, tilling his farm or something like that. What's Rollins doing? What's Reigns doing? Why are they showing up to the show each and every week? That's what doesn't make sense to me. I'm honestly hoping that Rollins can beat Brock once again, but we've seen this story. We've built up Rollins to the point where he beats up Brock. We saw that just at WrestleMania 35. We built up Roman Reigns for 2 or 3 years, thinking he was going to beat him at 31. Didn't happen. He went on that run, always thinking that we were building up Roman to beat Brock, and we finally got that at SummerSlam. So we've seen that story with Roman as well. Braun has never done it. So, are they doing this title change for us finally get to the point where Braun Strowman finally beats him? Braun had a really good win at Extreme Rules. It would have made sense for him to be the number one contender at SummerSlam because of the fact you could have, had him going through hell to beat Bobby Lashley. And, once he gets to that point, now he's finally at the point where he can go in there and battle Brock Lesnar, beat Brock, and that's it. But if Brock is basically going to disappear from WWE and we're not going to see him until, say, January, when we have, the Royal Rumble and the heat up to WrestleMania, I just don't see what the point of Monday Night Raw is each and every week with no championship for these guys to be fighting for. So WWE's going to have to be really creative in order to get something for them to get there. That being said, I really hope Rollins gets the win, but I don't really see it happening. I just sort of see Brock staying as champion forever. I don't draw the comparisons that the reason why Brock is champion is because Paul Heyman is in charge. I honestly really think that Vince thinks that Brock Lesnar is the attraction. And although, WWE does run shows almost every day of the week and, Brock is not on them, I think WWE is the attraction. And, you should have a champion like Rollins, like Roman, Braun Strowman. That is the reason why people are going to these house shows, and those people should be treated like they are a really big team, a really big deal. So that way, people will go to these shows, and excitement will be built in wrestling. And Brock, although he is an attraction, he is the reason why people will tune in. I think that if Brock was fighting in matches that were just sort of treated like dream matches in UFC, although guys do get built up to the point where they do it, sometimes they just bring freaks of nature back, put them in cards on the show, and know that even though it's not the main event, it is one of the reasons why people are going to buy the pay-per-views to see a returning John Jones or a returning you know, whoever it is. You know what I mean? Like, if it's a name, it's a name, and that name is going to draw Brock Lesnar, whether if he's having, a mid card match or some sort of gimmick match. I think that's a reason why people are going to watch it. He doesn't need to be the main guy in the company. Hopefully, Rollins can get the title back, but I just don't see it happening.